Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. Hey, today we have Landon Hughey. He's the head men's basketball coach, Science and Arts, USA0. They are the Drovers. Cascade Hoops Talk starts right now. Cascade Hoops Talk, produced in the shadow of the beautiful Cascade Mountains and bringing the world NAIA basketball. One podcast at a time. Today we have Landon Hughey, head men's basketball coach at USA0. This is his second season. He came in last year, literally had just a couple, 3 weeks to put together a roster and head off into the season and into that tough Sooner conference. It was a long season for him, but they were young. He's got a lot of guys back, and he's brought in a few key pieces to plug some holes. It sounds like they'll be improved this season. Why don't we just take a listen to Landon Hughey, head men's basketball coach, USA0, the Drovers. Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. Hey, I got Dr. Landon Hughey. He's the head men's basketball coach there at Science and Arts, or USA0, whichever you want to call it. They are the Drovers. Welcome, Coach.
Bill, thanks for having me on.
So, Coach, what do you call it? USA0, Science and Arts?
Oh, I call it USA0. Sometimes I think it's been beneficial in the recruiting cycle.
Yeah.
The occasional recruit thinks that we're UCLA or USC or UTEP or UConn, so I just roll with USAO.
You know, it's kind of funny because when you say University of Oklahoma Science and Arts, a lot of times people don't know who you're talking about because it just went by Science and Arts for so many years. That's all anybody called it. So it's kind of funny. But you know, today I just talked to Ben Tucker about this, with technical education being in such demand, it's got to really help you when you're recruiting, huh?
Absolutely. Our school, I want to give USAO a plug on the academic side. It's one of the top bachelor's degrees in the state, on par with University of Oklahoma and Oklahoma State University. And so kids seek us out because it's a great educational experience. And then, of course, the basketball speaks for itself as well.
You know, your doctorate is in educational leadership. Did that play into you going over to USAO? What kind of got you to USAO?
I grew up down the road from here.
Oh.
I grew up in El Reno, Oklahoma, which is about 30 minutes from Chickasha. My wife's from the same town that I am. And so for several years, we've had our eye on getting back this direction so that our kids can be around grandparents. It's an area that we would come and frequently visit anyway. From a basketball side, we know the lay of the land. There's a lot of overlooked junior college programs in the state here,
Yep.
and just these relationships here help us to build a program. And so for several reasons, I thought it was a place that would be beneficial for me to get back to on a personal level with my family, and then, of course, from building the program here at USAO as well.
That's pretty cool to be able to do that in your backyard. That's got to feel pretty special.
Absolutely. For once in my life, I feel like I've got a balance of everything the way I want it. So now we just got to go out and win some ball games.
You know, it was a long slog getting there, Coach. You and I talked a little bit. You spent some time at Arizona State under Herb Sendek, and then also at Northern Arizona. In some of those bigger programs, those D1 programs, you know, what did you walk away with that you find today is really beneficial?
I can't say enough about the high quality coaches that I've had a chance to work with. You mentioned Herb Sendek earlier. I was at OU with Jeff Capel, Jack Murphy at NAU, who's now at University of Arizona.
Right.
Michael Cook was the head coach at a junior college when I was there. Ty Harrelson, Todd Duncan at Lubbock. Just phenomenal people, and I lucked into a lot of that. But aspects of who they are as people and how they manage their programs have definitely had an impact on the program that we're trying to build here today. Sometimes it's as simple as basketball strategy. How do we implement this in the time and the game situation? Sometimes it's deeper than that. How can we build more meaningful relationships with our players off the court? But it all plays a role, and it's amazing how you can kind of pick and choose which parts you take and form your own identity as a coach.
At I think it was at Northern Arizona, you served as director of basketball operations and then video coordinator. Basketball operations is a title you read all the time. Can you explain what that entails?
At that point, it was everything basketball related, but off the court. And
Oh,
so
okay.
managing the budget, the travel,
Oh
the
my gosh.
logistics, class schedules, study hall. There's so many intricate details, and to be honest, it has absolutely prepared me for this role because at the smaller college level, you're expected to wear
Exactly.
multiple hats at the same time, and so having that experience made this transition so much easier.
That sounds like kind of a cool role, especially for a younger guy, because it allows you to kind of touch every area of the program. You know, you're interacting with the athletes academically, and the travel, and you just get an opportunity to interact with the entire program rather than just being pigeonholed in one area.
Absolutely. And it all comes back to relationships. And I thought at that role, I was still able to uh, build daily relationships with our players that those relationships, those relationships a decade ago with players are still helping me to recruit and get guys in our program today. So it's amazing how this whole thing goes full circle.
So you're no stranger to NAI or Sooner basketball. You spent, I think, 6 seasons at Wayland a few years ago. You came in last year to the Drovers. You and I were just talking. I think you got there just before the first tip off, something like that.
Right.
And it was. Did it feel a little bit like a buzzsaw?
Man, every day as a staff, it just seemed like we were trying to keep our head above water.
Yeah.
Last year we got off to a late start. I was hired right before the start of the school year in August, and I think it showed. It seemed like all season we were behind where we wanted to be. But at the same time, we used last season to lay a foundation that we can
Mm-hmm.
continue to build upon and benefit from. And I think it's going to pay dividends for us as we move forward.
Well, I always say that 10 and 18 seasons, you learn a lot more from those than you do 18 and 8. What were the key lessons you walked away with last season?
Um, our players, I'm forever grateful to the guys that were on our team last year. They left it out on the court every day during practice and during every
Mm-hmm.
game. We needed some depth. We were missing some positions, some
Okay,
size, and
yeah.
so it was really tough to go into some of these battles, especially in the Sooner Athletic Conference. You're lining up against some really, really good
Yeah.
teams, and knowing that we were going to compete and we're going to leave it all out there, but knowing the task at hand and how challenging that was at times. And so I'm optimistic about the direction that we're headed as a program. I think recruiting's been good to us this summer, and I'm excited for September 15th to get here so we can roll the ball out and get a better idea of exactly what we have now.
That's interesting. You talked about, playing hard, whistle to whistle, regardless of the score, regardless of the record. I've been around, there's some gyms you go into where, programs historically struggle. Uh, but there's a couple that I go that they do that. And I admire them just as much as teams that go 21-7 every year. Because they're fun to watch. They play 40 minutes and they play hard.
No doubt. One thing that we talked about as a team, sometimes you'll flip on the TV mid-season and the score bug is not on the bottom of the screen, let's say on ESPN. And so you're
Mm-hmm.
just watching the game and you don't know which team's winning and which team's losing. It might be lopsided, but as a fan, you have no idea because the score's not posted anywhere. And we talked about that a lot is regardless of what the score is in the situation, we've got to battle, we've got to leave it all out there every second of the game. And that's a foundation that I think
Yeah.
we grew on, and it's going to pay off for us as we cycle in this new batch of players to a really good group of returners that we have coming back, and something that Drover basketball will be about.
Coach, you touched on your recruiting. It's a little early to talk rosters, but what were your targets as you went out and recruited? Were you looking for young guys, transfers, size, quickness?
Bill, we had a great summer, but our recruiting for this year's team really started last year as we built the relationships with the players already in our program. Some of them I got here in camp on campus in August. Most of them I didn't. They were recruited by the previous coach, and so winning them over. Building relationships with them was extremely important. We had players that were tempted by opportunities to transfer elsewhere, But when it was all said and done, for this year, we're able to return 7 student athletes from last year's team,
Great.
including 2 starters. And I am a big believer in continuity within our program, and having this many returners makes it easier for us to teach our concepts and strategies as we move forward. As a staff, we hang our hat on player development and person development. Growth doesn't happen overnight. This is something that we stress, but for those that are willing to stay the course and invest in themselves and buy into our program, these results will pay off, and these results are powerful.
Yeah.
That commitment on their end to stay in our program raises the standards here and pushes our culture forward.
Yeah.
Once our season ended, we were really just getting started on the recruiting trail, and we're really excited about the individuals that are new to our program this fall. We had some positional needs that we were able to address. We added some much needed depth. We added a good balance of veteran players along with some freshmen and younger players that we can build around for years to come.
Yeah.
So on our roster, we've got a good mix of returners who gained experience last year and newcomers who are bringing a fresh energy. I think the strength of this team is how connected we are, and I'm excited to see how all of this unfolds on the basketball court.
Yeah, it sounds pretty exciting. USAO has quite a athletic reputation, let's call it. I know for sure there's softball teams at the World Series, I think, every year. Talk about the athletic atmosphere on campus. How strong is that? How much do the teams support each other? How much do the fans get out to the gym? What is the atmosphere like there?
We've got a community in Chickasha that absolutely supports Drover athletics. Our location is ideal because we're just outside of Oklahoma City, but we're far enough away that we don't have to compete with everything in Oklahoma City for the limelight. And so a lot of community members come to our events as the entertainment source in town. You touched on our softball program. Our baseball program won the conference last year as well. No, athletics is very rich, ongoing, and a rich tradition as well. And then with basketball, USA has a great basketball legacy, highlighted by a national runner-up finish in 2001 and a national championship in 2002. Names like Michael Williamson, Theron Jackson, Randy Hughes, Rod Kindred, Herb Blunt, Hayden Herron, and many, many others. I'm sure I could go on and on. These names are forever etched into our program's legacy. And every day I walk into the gym and I see Coach Briscoe McPherson's name on the court. I see the accolades hanging from the rafters. The basketball history just exudes out of this place. And that's a mark that we embrace. It reminds us that we're not just building a team for now, but we're carrying forward a standard of excellence, of toughness, and of pride that has defined USAO Drover basketball for decades.
Speaking of that, I think you have several alumni still in the area. Have you been able to engage any of them?
Absolutely. These guys are phenomenal. And every year for homecoming, it seems like every one of them's back on campus, which
great.
is just a fun experience to see them weave and pour into our current roster. And then I tell our current roster that once they become alumni, I want them to come back as well. The local alumni definitely come back more often than just one game a year. But there's even international guys that it seems like that first Saturday in November, they're in the stands. They have it booked. They have their flight ready to go. They're going to be here for homecoming week.
Oh, that's pretty exciting. That rich culture and tradition. I mean, it just typifies so many NAIA schools around the country. It's that family atmosphere, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a special place. And knowing that you get a chance to be a part of something that's bigger than yourself.
So you're heading into another Sooner Conference season. What are going to be the 2 or 3 or 4 keys for the Drovers to be competitive this season?
That's a good question. I wish I could answer that right now and have all the answers.
If you had them all, it'd be easy, wouldn't it?
Oh, no kidding. No kidding. I'm excited to see what we have, to be honest. As we recruited this summer, and even going back to last offseason, our returners made a lot of growth, a lot of progress that I'm excited to see this year. And then the individuals that we signed that are new to the program, I think they're going to be great additions. So now we're just chomping at the bit to roll the ball out and see how things stand. I know this last year, our ability to shoot the 3 was limited. And so we went and got us some shooters that I think can help just increase those percentages.
Yeah.
And then our offense, really second semester, it takes some time for players to buy into a new system, but by January or so, it seemed like our offense was flowing and really kind of reached a new level. It was on the other end of the court, the defensive end, that we couldn't get stops. And so I'm hoping that some size that we've added helps with that naturally. And then, of course, just something that we will continue to emphasize, that we've got to find ways to get stops if we're serious about winning ball games.
Coach, it sounds like it's going to be pretty exciting there in Chickasha. Tell the fans around town, around campus, what they can expect from the Drovers this season. Why should they come and watch Drover basketball?
I'll tell you, it will be exciting this year, and there is already a buzz within our community about USAO basketball right now, and rightfully so. We've got some great additions, and again, we weren't far from the mark last year. And so I think as it all pieces together, we'll continue to grow this program into something that can win a lot of games. Now, that's easier said than done, and I'm fully aware it's the first week of September, and so most coaches feel optimistic about the season, which makes me a little reluctant to even say anything about it. But no, there's definitely a buzz around town for sure. We will play hard, we'll play with the tenacity, and we play together. I thought that was something that we did really well this last year, knowing that on the court, the sum of our parts is better than any of us individually. And once we got guys bought into making the extra pass, it was really fun to watch. And so seeing that as a building block from last year, that's something we can continue to build on this year, gives me a lot of hope.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate you giving us some time talking some Drover basketball, some Sooner basketball. I can't wait for the whole season to get started. That Sooner's going to be tough. The entire NAIA is going to be tough. You got to be excited.
Absolutely. Excited. It's challenging, though. You mentioned our league. The Sooners, one of the premier leagues in NAIA. Every game is a battle, and that's exactly what we want for our players, is to be challenged, tested, and sharpened. Being in this league pushes us to prepare the right way and to compete with discipline. We know we've got work to do, but we're excited about the direction that we're headed and proud to be competing in a league of this caliber. And if you look at the Sooner Athletic Conference over the last 25 years, there have been 9 basketball national champions and 6 national runner-ups.
Wow.
This league is historically loaded, talented, and well coached from top to bottom, and it just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, it's a tough league, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, Coach, once again, thank you again for your time. I appreciate you getting on your show. I can't wait to get you back on after we throw the ball back up and we're in action, and we can talk some big wins or where you're at in the conference, or just give us an update. Give you a call during the season. That work out for you?
Absolutely. That would be great, Bill. And then anytime you want to come to Chickasha, our door is always open.
Well, I appreciate that more than you know. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you for everything that you do. I meant to say this at the start, but I've been a longtime listener of your program. And so when you called last week and invited me to be on the show, I was thrilled. And so thank you for everything that you do for small college hoops.
Oh, thank you. That means really a lot to me. Thank you, Coach. That's Dr. Landon Hughey. He's the head men's basketball coach at USAO, the Drovers. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much to Landon Hughey and to USAO. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do here in this second season. He's still going to be a little bit young, but he's got some experience coming back. I think the Drovers are going to be a lot better this season, but like he says, that Sooner is going to be tough. I'll tell you, every conference around the country is going to be tough. Join us tomorrow again for Cascade Hoops Talk. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast. Please like and subscribe. Get out to your local NAIA school, because NAIA basketball is the best entertainment value in America.